What's good, everyone? It's Yannick rounding up the highlight releases for the week ending October 6th. After a slight delay, Drake's new record is here with features from 21 Savage, multiple Teezo touchdown and SZA appearances, plus J. Cole, Chief Keef, and more. Not jumping on any opinions yet, but after the first listen, I do agree with Drake that fans of his earlier albums will enjoy this one. It feels like a semi-return to form. It clocks in at nearly 90 minutes with a star-studded feature list. As stacked as the last couple weeks have been, I think we've needed a blockbuster album to define at least this quarter of the year. I wonder if it will be For All the Dogs that fulfills that kind of hype. His first solo project since 2020, Sufjan Stevens has put out Javelin on Asthmatic Kitty Records. One of my favourite albums of his is his 2010 project, The Age of Ads, and it has a sound that I never thought he'd explore again, but he released The Ascension 10 years later to critical acclaim. I thought I'd have to wait another 10 years to get something so cacophonous yet beautifully organised at the same time from Sufjan, but Javelin somewhat continues that side to his discography. Though it's much more self-aware with the kind of instrumentation and other kind of creative choices that he makes with this direction though. And it's not as ambitious, but I think that's definitely a benefit this time around. Our next album comes from Slauson Malone, who has added a 1 to his moniker. A Quiet Farewell, his last full-length album, has become such a titan in the underground experimental hip-hop scene, and the singles for this new album have been super promising too. With all of that, plus guest vocals from Mike, Partisan Records, Body Meat, as well as Show Me the Body, it's gonna definitely be a trip. I think if you're a fan of what Injury Reserve / By Storm, Tony Velour and Standing on the Corner do, you're gonna really enjoy this. This is some really highly anticipated sound collage that I think is kind of redefining experimental music. Excelsior is out via Warp Records. After holding itself up on that obscure music listing platform for a while, the new Earl Sweatshirt album in collaboration with The Alchemist, Voir Dire, is out now on more popular streaming services. It is not the same as what was initially discovered though. There are 4 songs that have been replaced. So these new songs are Heat Check replacing All the Small Things, Mancala featuring Vince Staples replacing My Brother the Wind, and The Caliphate also featuring Vince replacing Geb. The Caliphate also switches places with the song Dead Zone to become the new penultimate track from the album. I don't think these are huge changes, but it does mean that we get more OutKast, so I'm pleased. Next up is Dorian Electra's sophomore LP, Fanfare, following up their 2020 mixtape, My Agenda. While the latter was definitively hyperpop, Fanfare returns more to the glitchy electropop of their debut, Flamboyant, but it's less on the bubblegum bass side of things, instead making use of classical and marching band motifs, as well as very 2012 pop aesthetics to basically question parasocial relationships that artists have with their fans in a very modern online world, done with innuendo and a meta-modern sheen. We've also got the new Timbre album, Lovage. The band had been putting out albums every 2 years or so since 2005, and now it seems that they've returned from their hiatus following 2017's Sincere Future Pollution. I think we're in a new era for the band, and I'm excited to hear what they've got in store from us. Lovage is their first full-length release via Hot Dreams Publishing. For All the Dogs, Midwest indie rockers Citizen shared their 5th album, Calling the Dogs, this week. That one comes by way of Run for Cover Records. Today also sees the release of the 3rd LP from Glasser, the electronic project by Boston's own Cameron Mesereau, and her first via One Little Independent Records. Hannah Diamond's sophomore Perfect Picture is here via PC Music. I feel like it's been an eternity since her debut, and because of how much the label has grown since 2019, fans have been clamoring for something substantive from her. But I'm glad that it's finally out. The French post-punk band Unschooling has just released their debut album, New World Artifacts, which is out now via Bad Vibrations Records. Andy Savage of Parquet Courts has gifted us his 2nd solo album, several songs about fire, under exclusive license to Rough Trade. It also features performances from Kate LeBon, esteemed songwriter John Parrish, plus Magdalena McLean from Caroline, who put out one of last year's most interesting debut records. Paramore have got a remix album out, enlisting a swathe of contemporaries to envisage an alternate universe version of what they put out back in February through new instrumentals or covers. It's out via Atlantic and features remixes from Foals, Animal Collective's Panda Bear, Zane Lowe, plus covers from Wet Leg, Cloud, Boy Genius's Julian Baker, DXX's Romy, and more. Following up his 2022 record Ivory, Omar Apollo has a new EP out called Live For Me. I was listening to it as I was drafting the script for this video and it immediately recalled Frank Ocean a little bit, so if you're craving for something like that, it scratches that itch and a bit more. It's 4 tracks, 15 minutes, definitely well worth your time. Now for the singles. Big day for Brockhampton fans too, as Kevin Abstract has launched his solo career YouTube channel to promote his upcoming album. He's done a couple shows lately that have shown a brand new direction for him, and this new single, Blanket, is introducing us to a new era of sorts. It's a lot heavier than his more traditional, prototypical stuff, and it definitely feels like an album opener than a promotional single per se, but it's got me excited. Brockhampton's Merlyn Wood has also got his debut EP out today, his first solo project since 2016. It's called Dirty Thunder, and Fortet has a producer credit on the first track too. It's out in partnership with Don't Be Greedy Records. For this week's surprise collaboration, we have Mac DeMarco teaming up with Ryan Paris for the single Simply Paradise. The 70-year-old Paris is an Italian singer best known for his 1983 synth-pop single Dolce Vita that became an international hit. The two come together on here for a very kind of mellow, tropical-infused soft rock piece about love, alongside a music video that sees the two dancing on the beach as the sun sets. Last week, King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard announced their 25th album, The Silver Chord, and this week fans get the first glimpse of what to expect from it with the first 3 tracks, Teia, The Silver Chord, and Set. The Silver Chord is a double album of sorts that features a shorter hook-driven album on the A-side and a B-side consisting of the same tracks in their much longer full King Gizzard jam band form. These 3 singles clock in at a little less than 12 minutes combined, while the full extended mix of Teia alone clocks in at 20. The Silver Chord is out in about 3 weeks on October 27th. Sleater-Kinney have announced a new album out in January alongside the release of lead single Hell. Little Rope is the follow-up to 2021's Path of Wellness, and if Hell is any indication, it's looking like the long-time indie rockers are coming with a level of aggression we haven't seen from them in a while. Little Rope is out January 19th on Loma Vista Recordings. Lastly, the relatively short-lived noise rock band Brainiac released 3 studio albums between their formation in 1992 and the tragic passing of lead singer Tim Taylor in 1997. This year marks the 30 years since their debut album Smack Bunny Baby, and they've just announced a special edition reissue of an album that's been long out of print. The once vinyl-only bonus track Velveteen Freak Scene dropped on streaming this week, and the physical reissue is available for pre-order through Craft Recordings or available in select record stores on December 1st. We have been eating so good for the last few weeks, and we have some big releases ahead of us too, like the highly anticipated Almighty So 2 by Chief Keef, Troye Sivan's first full-length record in over 5 years, plus albums from Beartooth, Jamila Woods, and Westside Gunn, so stay tuned for next week's breakdown of new releases. In the meantime, we're reviewing a ton of historic and brand new records via our community polls, like Drake's Nothing Was the Same, which turned 10 recently, Black Star, OutKast's Aquemini, as well as the new Olivia Rodrigo, Teezo Touchdown, and Mitski albums. We've got the links to the polls in the description below, so if you have any opinions that you want seen on our Instagram page, come and fill the form out. Have a great week, and we'll see you soon.